Just a quick note before we begin, this podcast is supported by Tagra, an ingredients company headquartered in Israel. Sponsorship allows Demystifying Cosmetics to remain independent and accessible, and it does not influence the perspective shared in today's discussion around ethics, accountability, and corporate responsibility. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Demystifying Cosmetics. I'm Jennifer, and today's episode is going to be a little different. No guests, no formulation deep dive. Instead, we're going to talk about something that's been weighing heavily on a lot of people right now, especially in light of recent events in Minneapolis and the broader national climate around immigration, civil rights, and unrest. And specifically, I want to talk about the question I keep seeing and hearing everywhere. What are we supposed to do? People are feeling overwhelmed, burnt out, emotionally maxed out. And increasingly, one of the only levers people may or may not know that they still have is where they spend their money. So today we're talking about corporate stances, consumer power, boycotts, buycotts, and what actually makes a difference. Because in beauty, we don't just buy products, we buy values. Before I go further, I want to say something directly. It would feel remiss not to use even this small platform, even a niche podcast about cosmetics to acknowledge what's happening. I don't have millions of listeners, but I do have some small reach, some small influence, and a community of people who care about ethics, science, and accountability. And staying silent because this isn't a politics podcast doesn't feel like neutrality. It feels like opting out. So this episode is simply me saying we're paying attention, we're thinking critically, and we do have choices. Beauty is often marketed as escapism, lipstick, skincare, self-care, but the truth is beauty has always been political. Beauty is labor, beauty is identity, beauty is culture, beauty is access, and beauty is representation. Beauty companies are not separate from society, they're part of it. They employ thousands of people, they shape cultural norms, they spend millions on advertising and influence legislation through lobbying. So when a crisis happens, whether it's immigration enforcement, racial injustice, or violence in our communities, consumers look at brands and ask, where do you stand? And just as importantly, what are you funding? In the last decade, we've seen a shift. Consumers don't just want clean beauty, they want conscious beauty. And people ask, who owns this company? Who benefits from my purchase? Do they support marginalized communities? Do they donate? Do they lobby? Do they stay silent? And this has given rise to two trends: boycotts, withholding money from companies seen as harmful or complicit, and buycotts, which intentionally supporting companies that are aligned with your values. These tools can matter, but they can also be messy because corporate values are often complicated. And what circulates online is something that's sometimes incomplete to flat out wrong. So the question becomes, how do we do this responsibly? A boycott is a form of consumer protest. It's a way of saying, I will not fund this. Historically, boycotts have been part of real change, from civil rights movements to labor organizing. Burning things down is not consumer activism. Terrorizing communities is not justice. If we're going to talk about being on the right side of history, we need to separate constructive civic pressure from destructive extremism. And boycotts work best when they are specific, evidence-based, tied to a clear demand, and paired with alternative action. Not just, this brand is bad, but this brand funds X policy and I want them to stop. And that's where pressure works. So how do you evaluate a company without relying on viral infographics? Here are 5 questions to ask. Number 1, what do they do, not just what do they post? Statements are easy, policies are harder. Look for action like donations, partnerships, and worker protections. Number 2, where does their money go politically? Political giving is often quiet, but public databases do exist for lobbying and contributions. Number 3, how do they treat their workers? If a brand claims to stand for humanity, ask, do they pay fairly? Do they protect vulnerable employees? Do they even know who is making their product? Number 4, do they show up consistently? Values are revealed in patterns, not just one-time PR moments. Number 5, are they willing to take risk? Real advocacy costs something. If a company only speaks when it's safe, that tells you something too. I want to end this with, a lot of people feel emotionally tapped. Like, I can't do everything, and that's real. But I can't do everything is not the same as I can't do anything. Here are small but real options that you can do. You can support local immigrant advocacy groups. You can donate to legal defense funds if you can. You can call your representatives and demand action. You can ask your employee what they are doing. You can push internally responsible corporate action. You can spend intentionally, not impulsively. And you can stay engaged and listen to those around you that this is happening to. And remember, your voice matters not only as a consumer, but as a citizen, a worker, and as a human being in community with others. If you're listening right now, feeling overwhelmed, you're not alone, but please do not confuse exhaustion with helplessness. This moment asks for clarity, not chaos, compassion, not extremism, and action, even if small. Thank you for spending these short few minutes with me. Stay safe and support each other.